Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Adam Dorsay, a psychologist in Silicon Valley and the host of Super Psych.D, a podcast dedicated to supercharging your life. Each episode contains fun, high-quality interviews with experts looking at psychology from all angles. Super Psych.D is your tool to get more of what you want in your life and less of what you don't. All right. And a happy Thanksgiving to you all. We are zooming into Thanksgiving, but no matter when you are listening to this recording, we can always zero in on today's subject, and that is gratitude. I am a huge fan of this skill, and not so long ago, it was kind of considered woo-woo until all of a sudden we put gratitude under the microscope, or even more specifically, under functional MRIs and other measuring devices to see that there are physiological and psychological benefits that cannot be denied when we practice gratitude. So for those of you who want to geek out, I'm talking about improvements in the limbic region, activity in the amygdala, as well as improvement in areas in that executive functioning region called the prefrontal cortex. For many of us, we pretty much do the "so what are you thankful for" exercise during Thanksgiving and the other days of the year. We don't practice it. It would be my recommendation that you practice this on the regular. There seems to be some evidence that doing it even just 3 times a week will help. And studies indicate that if you do this, you'll be helping others in your life to feel happier, even if they're not doing these exercises, probably due to the fact that your positive energy from these exercises may rub off on them. But I'm going to show you kind of how to do it and how maybe not to do it. First off, one of the things that we're going to want to do is consider why we do it. And that is, there's a great axiom: what we appreciate appreciates. When we appreciate something, like, let's say, our car, we might have appreciated it initially, but a little time passes and we habituate to that car and we forget how awesome that car actually is. But what if you decided to go back in time and ask yourself, could I have even imagined at one point in my life affording such a great car? I'm just using a car, a piece of material. You can use whatever you like. But many of us have a pretty good and functioning car, and that's pretty fantastic. And we may actually take it for granted. And if we can appreciate it each time it turns on, and even just say thank you for turning on when I put my key in, that's amazing. What we appreciate appreciates. That relates to our relationships, to our professions, to our health, a host of things. If we can appreciate what we've got, whatever that is appreciates, let's look at that in stark contrast to a very rich person who may not actually appreciate the fact that they are rich. In my eyes, that person is actually poor in spite of the huge bank accounts they may possess, if they are not truly appreciating what they have, if they are not in touch with gratitude. Gratitude has a lot of things going for it, physiologically and neurophysiologically. If we're looking physiologically, we can expect some health benefits, possibly improved immune functioning, possibly improved cardiological functioning. Neurophysiologically, we can expect that our emotional regulation may be improved and that we may have decreases in anxiety and depression, increases in senses of fulfillment and engagement. And of course, these occur when gratitude is practiced on the regular. So let's look into how you might do it and how you might not do it. One of the ways you don't want to do it is just to kind of, like a robot or an automaton, just say, okay, I'm grateful for my health, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my cat, okay, let's move on. That's not going to really do much. But if you can think of what you're grateful for, close your eyes, ask yourself, what is it that I'm grateful for? And at least as importantly, why am I grateful for this? Wait and see what the answer is. Why am I grateful for this thing? Let's take a good relationship with a friend. Why am I so grateful for my friend? Well, my friend showed up for me, and that's a pretty big deal during a really dark time. And if you zero in even further and ask yourself, where am I feeling my gratitude physiologically? You may notice for many people that there's warmth in the chest. You may be smiling. You may be tearing up. And just notice the physiological response to the gratitude itself. If you're able to do this, let's say 3 times a week, that would be great. You can write it in a journal. You can make it part of your meals. If you share meals with another person, you can make that part of the conversation. So what are we grateful for on the regular, not just for Thanksgiving? Some people do it as they go to sleep. They kind of think about what they're grateful for. Or some people start their day with it. They wake up in the morning and ask themselves that prompt of a question, what am I grateful for today? But there is some circumstances under which you don't want to do it. If for some reason you think it's woo-woo or stupid and you find yourself eye-rolling and saying, yeah, I know I should do this, but I don't want to do this, and every ounce of my body doesn't want to do it, don't do it. Instead, consider doing the following. To override the negativity bias, that is the part of our brains that have kept us alive for years and may cause us to recognize that bad seems to outweigh the good. Just kind of describe the negativity bias in a very simple way. Have you ever noticed that when 9 things go well and 1 thing goes badly, what's the thing that you remember? Well, oftentimes the bad outweighs the good and you remember that bad thing, especially if it's the first or the last thing, particularly if it's the last thing, if it's your last taste, that's kind of a recency thing. But if you are able to notice what went well today, so this is kind of a theme or variation on gratitude, noticing what is good, noticing what went well. It could be as simple as noticing that, wow, when I started my car today, it started. That was good. And why was that good? Well, it was good because I needed to get to work. And if it didn't start and if it didn't go, that kind of would have sucked. You can also ask yourself, what could have gone wrong but didn't? That can be a nice way for us to gain a portal towards gratitude or looking at what is good. Some of us may even want to look at what we might take for granted, such as our autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is that often overlooked beast of a workhorse in our body that handles all of those automatic functions that we don't think about much, from our heartbeat to our going to sleep and handling all those jobs that allow us to wake up and stay alive throughout the night so that we can see the morning. That workhorse deserves some gratitude, to be sure. Wow, so many things had to go on under the hood of our bodies, so to speak, for us to go to sleep and then wake up. So many physiological functions needed to transpire in order for us to go to sleep and wake up. And back to the car analogy, so many things need to be firing on all cylinders for the car to actually work. That's kind of a big deal, including the external things beyond the car, like the stoplights. And to further drill in this idea, to borrow from one of the greatest thinkers of all time, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, he once said, when we're having a toothache, we know that not having a toothache is a wonderful thing. Yet when we don't have a toothache, we're still not happy. A non-toothache is very pleasant. I think that's brilliant. A non-toothache is very pleasant. I often think of when I have a sore throat, I kind of go back to the time, oh my gosh, it was so great when I didn't have a sore throat. So one of the things I actually try to do is zero in when I don't have a sore throat and recognize that the absence of something pretty unpleasant. I mean, just this morning, I took a warm shower, something I generally take for granted. And the reason I didn't take it for granted this morning is because of the fact that yesterday I had the electrical people come by, and unfortunately I had to take a cold shower because they turned off the electric. And while I was taking the cold shower, I was remembering, oh my gosh, it's so much better to have warm water. And just having running water at all is a complete luxury in the first world, something that we often take for granted out here. There are so many nations that do not have running water at all, let alone running warm water. So something to consider is just noticing things that could have gone badly or something that we would ordinarily take for granted that has been taken away or could be taken away at any given time. that we could zero in on. Boy, there's a lot to be thankful for, or a lot to notice that is good that is going on in our lives. So for this Thanksgiving, I want to say thank you to all of you for being my listeners. I'm noticing I'm smiling as I think of you all. And I'm so grateful that you tune into the podcast, because without you, this would be just me talking into a microphone, and that would not be so fulfilling. If you care to shoot me an email or give me some feedback, I'm always happy to hear it. And if you're listening to this during a non-Thanksgiving time, I hope that you will initiate the practice, because it doesn't have to be a particular day of the year. So, happy Thanksgiving if you're listening to it around that time. Happy holidays if you're listening to it around that time. And thanks again for listening. This is Dr. Adam Dorsay thanking you for listening to Super Psyched. If you know anyone who might like it or who might benefit from listening, share it. And if you like the episode, please hit subscribe.